Hi, I'm Tiffany Megan, and this is my friend John Israel.
Hi.
He is a Cutco knife specialist, and I am a fantastic home cook, not a chef. So he's going to demonstrate some proper knife skills to me today, and I'm going to show him how to grill some halibut fish tacos. So bring your appetites and let's get ready to slice and grill. All right, let's get started. So for our side dish for our fish tacos today, we're going to be serving Mexican roasted vegetables, which will consist of a squash, zucchini, pasilla chili, a little bit of garlic, oregano, lemon juice, some spices, the usual suspects in Mexican food. Healthy, refreshing, and delicious. Certainly healthier than refried beans. So where you come into play for me today is, what is the best knife to use to cut my squash with?
This is a good question. Well, there's a couple things that come into cutting squash or anything like this. First of all, it's important to have actually a good cutting board, something that's a softer material, not like a glass or a really hard plastic. Wood or a soft plastic like this works really well. Next thing is the right knife. So there's a few options we have here. The French chef knife is more commonly what people would use when they're going to be cutting vegetables and things like this. The rule of thumb when you're using a knife though is you want to use something that's just bigger than what you have to cut. So that's why today we're going to be using our 5-inch Santoku knife, which is a newer design, and it works really well for things like this. So when it comes to cutting, there's a couple of rules or things to do. First thing is you really only need to cut with the last 2/3 of the knife. And you kind of treat it like a paper cutter, but you keep the tip down and then you just kind of rock back with it, kind of like that. So when you're cutting the zucchini, just keep the tip down, just rock like this. And that's it. Okay, why don't you go and try it?
Okay, rock. And these knives really are fabulous, absolutely fabulous. Okay. Whoops, they're flying everywhere. No big deal.
Cool.
Okay, move on to our zucchini.
Toss these guys in the bowl.
Yep, and then we'll toss them all together.
Sit here and watch. She's doing a great job.
I think I got her from here. Get that dirty end off. And rock. And this is really awesome for me because I have pretty small hands. So this knife fits perfectly in my palm of my hand. Roll through that. Getting a little ambitious. Going a little fast, but that's okay. Now, is this good as well for me to slice and seed my chili with?
Well, how did you want to slice this one up? Did you want to take the top off first?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I need to get the seeds out because that's where a lot of the heat is, and our mouths will be on fire if we don't.
Yeah, I'm a big wimp. So, all right, what we're going to use today then is the Bird's Beak paring knife. It's a curved paring knife. It's sharp on the inside, whereas a traditional paring knife is shaped kind of like this. So the reason why this one's going to work really well is because we're going to be able to get in right around the stem, just kind of like this.
You're better than I am at that.
Pretty much just kind of pull it off right there.
And yank it out.
Just like that. And then why don't you just go ahead and slice down the center of it, cut it however you like, and then we'll get the rest of those seeds out.
I was taught to drag back. I don't know if that's
perfect.
Correct or not, but apparently it is. So I'm gonna pull out the core and the seeds. Again, indigestion and stomach cramps. Now, you want to pull back the rest of the veins?
Yeah.
The proper way?
Proper way, so let's see. Well, what I'll probably do is I'll go ahead and slice it in the middle of this.
Okay.
A little bit easier. And then so, just pull out the rest of the stuff here.
Now, this edge must not be that sharp if your thumb is that close to it, correct?
Actually, you know what? It's extremely sharp. And the cool thing with the knife is that you're more likely to injure yourself with a dull knife than you are a sharp knife.
Gotcha.
So that's why it's really important to have it sharp, because if you have to push too hard when it's dull, you can actually cut yourself. So
Makes sense.
yeah.
Work smarter, not harder.
So there we go. That's all I gotta do to get those ones out.
Perfect.
And then with these ones, they're just gonna drop out like that.
Pop it out. So I'll go ahead and dice that up. Being careful to not chop my thumb off. Now, which knife should I use to chop these a little finer?
If you're gonna chop these a little finer, because there's quite a bit of them, I'd probably switch over to the French chef knife.
Okay.
Because this one's gonna have a lot more surface area to cut with. So when you're chopping a lot of veggies like this, you wanna have as much surface area as possible. So
Gotcha.
Get
Get rid of the garbage.
let's get these out. And so pretty simply, just kind of group them up together like this, and then same thing, you just kind of keep the top down, inch a rock.
That's a big knife.
Yeah, it actually, you know, it's a really good point. It is a big knife. A lot of people would see this and be kind of intimidating because it's a larger knife, but when it comes down to it, it's safer to use a knife that's the right size for what you're cutting. And we're all
Gotcha.
about knife safety. So just kind of chop it up a little bit more like this.
Okay.
And if you want to have a little more control, you can actually put your other finger on the back of it and just kind of chop like this.
I was curious about that because I always see people doing that and I never know if it's correct or not. So apparently it is.
Yeah, it's good for certain types of cutting.
Perfect.
So here, why don't you
You
go
can
finish
add
those
those
up.
That's actually as much as we're gonna chop them. Because it's, like I said, the seeds are mainly where the heat is. This chili is full of flavor, so not gonna be too spicy there. All right, pop open our garlic clove.
All right.
I wanna see your correct way to do that as well.
Correct way to do this? Mm-hmm. Let's see. All right, no knives needed for this section.
I just don't wanna get my hands sticky.
Yeah, I mean, I'll do all your dirty work.
That's the plan.
So, how many cloves you need?
2.
2. All right, awesome.
And we will do these pretty fine.
Okay, cool. So we're going to chop these ones up. Mm-hmm. All right, cool. This is the fun part.
Pop.
Yeah, this is where you get to smack them. So, cool thing you can do with a chef knife like this is because it has a wide surface area, you just lay it flat like this for your garlic, and then you just push down.
Don't even have to pop.
Pushes it. Yep, and then you just take all the sleeves right off, just like that. And then same thing, you can use your knife and then chop.
You know how to cook more than I thought you did. I think you lied a little bit.
I've been doing this for a while, so, and that's pretty much how you
Awesome.
mince them up a little bit. We can cut them a little finer, but that'll
Sure.
work for now.
Okay.
And what kind of herb did you want to cut up?
Just a couple of oregano leaves I have for our vegetables.
Okay, cool. All right. Oh, so you want me to do it?
Yes.
Yeah, so
I told you.
You can put to work.
You're my elbow grease.
All right, so to cut these guys up, you can do this a couple different ways.
Yeah, over the bowl's fine.
Yeah, so we'll just kind of set this up like this. And so you can just kind of trim them up really fine like that with scissors. Can we do all of it?
Actually, what's in your hand is more than enough. That should be perfect. That's it. Yeah. For reference, about a tablespoon.
Cool.
Fabulous. Normally I would use a mandolin to slice my zucchini and squash, but I did it in just as the same amount of time, and I don't have to wash a mandolin now either. So I'm gonna go ahead, excuse me, and drizzle my vegetables with some extra virgin olive oil. Not too much. Again, about a tablespoon. Season them with salt and freshly cracked black pepper. A little bit of chili powder, Ancho or New Mexico, it doesn't matter. There's not much of a big flavor difference. About a teaspoon of that as well. Some ground cumin seed. You're familiar with cumin?
Yeah. I think I've seen it in my mom's kitchen.
That's not familiar.
Can't say it.
That's mainly the main ingredient in taco seasoning in general. And then some lemon juice, fresh squeezed, of course. I'm gonna toss that all together. I'm gonna roast it in the oven at 350 degrees for about 15 minutes. Any longer and the vegetables lose all their nutrition and crunch. And then they're a little bit soggy. We don't like soggy veggies. Okay. Just arrange it however you wish. Line it with parchment paper as well. That's another trick if you want to cut down on dishes time. Usually when I line it with parchment paper, peel it right off and I'm good to go. So I'm gonna pop these back in the oven and I'll see you when we're ready to grill our fish. Ready?
Cool.